I've said before that I think stories and fiction can be a powerful tool. I think sometimes we forget that even for the most out there and wacky stories, writers can only pull from what they know, which is often their own lived experience. I firmly believe that a good story at the right time can be a life-changing experience, whether it be from the characters, the main plot, or even the world of the story itself. These pieces of fiction can resonate with us in ways that can show us new perspectives on life, even if said perspective isn't necessarily complicated or has been right in front of us the whole time. So anyway, recently I played Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Infinite Wealth was the latest game in the Yakuza or Like a Dragon series that I played after having not really been keeping up with the series for a while. I honestly didn't expect to like the game all that much, as I wasn't the biggest fan of Yakuza Like a Dragon for a number of reasons. I am happy to say that I was completely wrong in that thought. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is a phenomenal game for many reasons, but for the purpose of this video, I want to focus solely on the story, especially in regards to its themes and messaging. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth begins sometime after Yakuza Like a Dragon ended. In the aftermath of the Great Dissolution, which saw the end of the two largest Yakuza groups in Japan, those being the Tojo clan and the Omi Alliance, thousands of ex-Yakuza are thrown out into the world. But laws and societal persecution lead many to find extreme difficulty in trying to earn a second chance and make an honest living. At the start of the game, we see Ichiban working at Hello Work, and using his position to find loopholes and gray areas to help ex-Yakuza who are looking to make a real effort to turn their lives around. It's from this that we learn that Ichiban is doing this as a means of honoring his patriarch Arakawa's legacy by essentially finishing what he started with the Great Dissolution. We also learn that the other party members from Yakuza Like a Dragon, which from here I would just call Yakuza 7 to avoid confusion, are each doing well in their own lives. Adachi runs a security consulting firm, Nanba is back in the medical industry, Saiko runs her own cabaret club, Jungi and Chao are both doing well in their own pursuits. The game even mentions that Eri is running Ichiban Confections and is working overseas, which is pretty cool. Things in the story take a turn though when Ichiban just royally screws up his first date and is ghosted for a whole year. Shortly following that time skip, he loses his job and it's revealed that he's being framed by a VTuber, of all things, for extorting ex-Yakuza to commit crimes for him. This scandal gets Adachi and Nanba seemingly caught up in it as well, and now our heroes are down on their luck. After some more plot reveals, Sawashiro, Ichiban's former captain of the Arakawa family, reveals to Ichiban that his biological mother is still alive and is living in Hawaii, and he tasks him with going to meet her. And from here, the game truly kicks off. I think Infinite Wealth has a few themes, but one theme that is apparent from the beginning, and the main one in my eyes, is the theme of it's never too late. Ichiban is a perfect protagonist to display this theme, as in Yakuza 7, he was a Yakuza who went to prison for over a decade for a crime he didn't commit, only to be released into a changed world that he didn't recognize. He essentially had to start his life over from scratch, right in the middle of it. And now, in Infinite Wealth, he has to meet his mom, a woman who he never truly knew. It is during Ichiban's various shenanigans in Hawaii that he runs into Kiryus, the previous protagonist of the series, and it is from this point that the story takes a turn. Fairly early on, Kiryus reveals that he has cancer, and has been given only a few more months to live. From this point in the story, I think the themes really become apparent. A bit later in the game, Kiryus breaks off from the rest of the group and returns to Japan. From here, a whole extra slew of content opens up on Kiryus' side of things. They all pretty much revolve around him making the most of the time that he has left. These bucket list actions revolve around things like reminiscing about the events of past games, reconnecting with old friends and foes, and seeing how his life and believed death have affected his loved ones in a way that reminds me a lot of It's a Wonderful Life. These scenes in the game are obviously framed as Kiryu trying to make the most of the time that he has left, but they are also meant to allow for his friends to convince him that there is still more he has to see, to convince him that it's never too late to live. But Kiryu's side of things isn't the only one carrying this theme. On Ichiban's side, he deals with a lot of people who have made mistakes or who have regrets in their life. Tomizawa was framed for a crime which led to his fiancée miscarrying and then leaving him, only for him to then fall on hard times and get pulled into a life of crime working for Yamai. Chitose betrays Ichiban a number of times, but backs out last second on the really big betrayal, and strives to make up for all of her past mistakes. Yamai committed murder for a one-sided love that ended with him running away and out of the country without ever truly facing his past. Akane regrets the entire lifetime lost of watching her son grow up into the man he is now, and blames her own cowardice for not being a part of Ichiban's life. Even Eiji, who betrayed Ichiban and was responsible for some truly heinous stuff, regrets his actions by the end of the game. But like I said earlier, Ichiban is the perfect protagonist for this story and this theme. He's someone who knows what it's like to feel like everything in the world is against you. But despite that, Ichiban understands that even when it feels like you've lost everything, that doesn't mean you have nothing. Whether it's through the support of your loved ones or through sheer grit and will, there is always a path forward. There is always hope. Many might think Ichiban is naive, but I think this attitude of his actually shows a real sense of maturity. I think that Ichiban is so trusting of people and willing to give them more chances than many others would award them, because he believes that people act differently at their lowest and most desperate. But those actions are not all that they truly are. And I think this mindset is what influences the others around him. It helps Tomizawa to break free from Yamai. It helps Chitose to face her fears and make up for all the wrongs she's caused. It helps Yamai to confront his past. It helps Akane to realize the time lost is not time wasted. And in the end, it even helps Eiji to turn himself in the hopes of living an honest life. In this way, Ichiban shows the others that their pasts do not define them, so long as they try to make up for their mistakes. He shows them that it's never too late to seek forgiveness. This all culminates in the finale, which sees Ichiban and the Hawaii crew taking on Pelicana, and Kiryu and the crew in Japan taking on Ebina. We also get this awesome scene before the split too, which just rocks.
Kiryus-san.
Now, both of these fights have a lot of great things going on, but the one that I want to focus on is the fight against Ebina. I know some people take issue with the fact that it's Kiryu fighting Ebina instead of Ichiban, as on the surface at least, Ichiban should have a more personal connection to Ebina, but I honestly think that Kiryu works better as the person to face him. Ebina represents the antithesis to this theme that I've brought up. He believes that people, especially the Yakuza, should not be given second chances. He thinks that their lives should be ruined as an act of revenge against all of the lives that the Yakuza has ruined over the decades of its existence. In Ebina's eyes, it's too late. Once you've entered into that life and been tainted by it, there is no going back. Because of this, I feel like Kiryu is the perfect opponent for him. Kiryu is a legend in the Yakuza world. In the eyes of many of the people in this universe, he represents the Yakuza itself. Kiryu is also tied to many of the conflicts that have sprung up within the Yakuza for years. In his own eyes, he could have prevented these by changing the Yakuza, but he didn't. Could he have made a difference had he remained as chairman? Who knows? It's not really important. What is important, at least, is that in Kiryu's mind, he didn't even try. Because of that, he feels that he bears responsibility for all of the crimes of the Yakuza. So, on one hand, you have Ebina, a punisher who has gone rogue due to having no one left to personally direct his rage. And on the other, you have Kiryu, a man who represents the Yakuza and is willing to take up all of their sins. And I think it's fitting that at the end of the battle, Kiryu, the man who was always willing to give up his life and his own identity for others, and who spent the whole game ready to die, tells Ebina that the only way for people to atone, the only way for people to make the world a better place, is to keep on living. You can't change anything if you're dead. And the game has the perfect ending for this overall theme, with Ichiban being a shining example of hope and good through showing Eiji to not be afraid of the long and thorny road ahead, because as long as he strives for a better path, he'll eventually see the sunlight again. And of course, you have Kiryu no longer running away and finally regaining his name and his identity, and choosing to fight his illness with the hope of a new lease on life with his loved ones. Infinite Wealth resonated with me on an incredibly personal level. I knew about the whole Kiryu cancer plot point before I even started the game, but because of some things that have happened recently with a loved one in my own personal life, this plot point hit a lot closer to home than I expected. But because of that, I also think that this game's message and theme hit me harder as a result. Maybe the theme might seem like a pretty obvious life lesson to many, but I feel like sometimes we need to hear something said in a specific way for it to finally stick. And this game was what made it stick for me. When life gets us down and we feel like the world is out to get us, or when we've been dealt a bad hand, or when the consequences of our own actions finally catch up to us, it's important to remember the message of this game. That even though our time in this world is finite, and it may seem like we never truly have enough to see and do all that it has to offer, or that we never have enough time with those that we've lost, even through all of that, whether you're young or old, in a good place or bad one, it's never too late to seek forgiveness. It's never too late to chase your dreams or to strive to reach a better place. It's never too late to try to rekindle lost relationships. It's never too late to hold the important people in your life close and tell them that you love them. And it's never too late to live.